Franco watch. This is the second part of my Fall of Franco watch series.
Bye.
Adios. I think they decided, I don't know, to make a horror film. But she didn't know a lot about horror films, so they just wanted, but it's not enough. And so everything was prepared for months, but not well prepared, but kind of badly prepared. So at the last moment, I had to.
The years definitely became more ambiguous because there's a point where Jess Franco is producing so many films that it's kind of, I mean, this is pretty much something that happened very quickly in his career, but the years that I'm going to be referencing are the years that are listed on Letterboxd for the corresponding films. In some cases, I believe in one distinct case, the film was produced several years earlier, but we'll get to that when we get to that. This is from, nominally, the original idea was 79 to 89, and that changed towards the end in a exciting way. But this second part is 20 films, mostly films that Jess Franco produced while during his Golden Films International period, or films that were released and distributed by Golden Films International, which wasn't really exactly a studio in a proper sense, is what I've seemingly gathered from listening to the bonus features on a number of these releases with author and all-around Jess Franco expert Stephen Thrower. He gives the impression that it really was just a Spanish couple that Jess Franco befriended, and apparently there's a number of films that he made for them that went unreleased because he just made so many films, which is very characteristic of Jess Franco. But we start off this second part, and as you can probably tell, it is decidedly, although not really, but it is decidedly, I got delayed, not the fall of 2025 anymore. It is decidedly winter of 26. But without further ado, better late than never, we start things out with a Triton PC, and more interestingly, a Euro Cine production from 1979. This is the Sadist of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame. Notre comment. This is a film that's somewhat interesting because it repurposes footage from, I'm forgetting, I think it's 1975's Exorcism. I could be wrong on that, but it repurposes footage from another film of Jess Franco's, and there's I think it's like 20 minutes or so, maybe 19 minutes, but there is it's a handful of new footage. It's just a repurposing and re-editing of things, and I find that entire aspect incredibly invigorating, considering that it's someone like Jess Franco who's doing it, and you really do seem to be getting a new story out of the mix in a way where it's compelling in a completely different way, it seems, from what the original film was. Following that, we have another Triton PC production. This is 1980s Sinfonia Erotica, or also known as Erotic Symphony. And there's a lot of really eccentrically done releases that are, how do I say this? This is, I think, one of the more on point, straight ahead, quote unquote, sex films that Jess Franco made. But it's a very odd movie. As which there's a lot of these films have layers of genre cinema mixed in, and they're just, that one I'm not fully recalling. This next one is a very odd film that you might even recall me saying I am not going. Apologies to any fans of this movie, but I'm not gonna watch this movie. I'm not gonna own it. Well, I did buy it and I did watch it, and it's White Cannibal Queen from 1980. This is another Euro Cine release, and it's Jess Franco, when he does a cannibal movie or when he does a zombie movie, it's not gonna be a traditional outing in that regard. It's gonna be Jess Franco doing a cannibal movie, and it's very much that. It's yeah. Similarly, you could say the same thing with Jess Franco doing a slasher movie, which is sort of what you get with a film like 1981 from Notre film, Bloody Moon. This is one of the more fun outings. It's got a distinctly 80s party scene with a very lively bit of music, but also I appreciate how Jess Franco does horror, because he doesn't really like or want to do horror, so when he does films that are more obliquely horror, sometimes he'll tap into this really interesting energy by just doing other things to kind of keep himself interested in the picture, seemingly. And when you're dealing with someone who is as creative, especially in terms of the filmmaking art form, when you have someone like that doing something where they're trying to keep themselves interested, you can get very interesting idiosyncratic results, such as, in terms of making a slasher, you'll get something like Bloody Moon. Following that, we have Star Films S.A. with a 1981 film. This film being called Sex is Crazy, and it's one of the most, It's one of the most obliquely Jess Franco made films that Jess Franco could have ever possibly made. It's a film involving aliens somehow. Following that, this is the first Golden Films International release, and it's The House of Lost Women. It's a Spanish film that received a S certificate or classification, which is some kind of interesting distinction that existed. This is a very baffling movie. And that's sort of the case with most of his Golden Films output. Following that, I'm just gonna run through. So from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's about 7 other films following this that are all going to be Golden Films releases, and so we then have the Inconfessable Orgies of Emanuelle, which is listed on Letterboxd as Emanuelle Exposed. That is an unofficial Emanuelle film. Emanuelle is this kind of sexploitation, like just it's a general character that doesn't really have a lot of defining traits as but a lot of people made Emanuelle movies. It's almost it's kind of insulting how much people could just put that name on a movie, because you have official movies, you have other series, and then you have unofficial movies, and it's just like this long it's truly baffling, but in the sense that you could really just have the film be basically anything and it could be related to that. It really has nothing. It's not really related to anything. It's not. It's really. It's a strange movie. It's following that, Cries of Pleasure. Following that, Mansion of the Living Dead, and that is a very. Not very, but it's a zombie film that Jess Franco made as only Jess Franco could make. Following that, we've got Black Boots, Leather Whips, and some of these have a almost noir undercurrent to them. But that film, sometimes the title is more than the film, seemingly. And that film definitely has more of Then there's Macumba Sexual. Then there is The Night of Open Sex. Then there's Night Has 1,000 Desires. Like, these films are all, they begin to run very much together at a certain point by the mid-80s with a lot of these Golden Films production. There are 2 films that I watched that were produced by Manicoa Films that are independently produced by Jess Franco himself. The first of those films would be has an undercurrent of noir and almost has a Kill Bill. It's not quite in any comparable way, but there is a bride looking for revenge, and it is, I think, one of the more fascinating films that these are more, the thing with the films is that visually what Jess Franco's doing is almost always more interesting than any obsequious, that's not the right word. He's not really good with story or dialogue, but he's good at creating compelling visuals, and he's a really good visual storyteller. Following that, we have an interesting film because it is a film of his where he returns to a character that's sort of one of his first films of note was a film from I think 1962 called The Awful Dr. Orloff, where he created this character Dr. Orloff, and so it's one of the more sense. Is it even the same character? Following that, there is the sexual story of O, which is entirely selling itself and that's these last two are Golden Films productions. Those are they're both disappointing films in their own way. But then, interestingly enough, there is a Manicoa Films that on Letterboxd is listed as with a 1987 release, although it was, I believe, produced several years earlier. A film called Thong Girls, which is a comedy that is much more wholesome than the name would imply. And wholesome isn't even the right word, but it's an actual... Some of these films aren't quite films, but it's an actual film. It's an honest-to-God film with a lot of character and heart to it. Following that, that incorporates Dr. Mabuse and Dr. Orloff, but also it's a film that uniquely has a characteristic to it that I think all films would be greatly boosted if they had this, and that would be a freeze frame of Telly Savalas deciding he's going to go to France. Following that, 1989's Esmeralda Bay, and then 1989's Night of the Eagles. Those are both Eurocine releases that aren't unwatchable, but don't really have anything going on outside of, oh, this is a film with George Kennedy and Robert Forster. And also Robert Forster is technically in a film with Robert Forster, because Antonio Mayans Antonio Mayans had previously been using, and I think even continued to use, Robert Foster as a pseudonym on some of his films. So it's an interesting pair-up. And then Night of the Eagles, that's a film that has Mark Hamill and Christopher Lee in it, and it's a World War II picture, but it's really, who really wants to see Mark Hamill playing a Nazi? That's, like, there's only so much you can... And then lastly, a 1976 film, this one being a elite film, more accurately, a Ewan C. Dietrich, forgetting if I'm even saying, it might be Ewan C. Dietrich.
No.
But there's a period of films that Jess Franco made with Dietrich, and those seem to be some of his more well-regarded films of the 1970s, and recently there was a really well-done release by Delirium magazine, starting a new thing called Delirium Home Video, and that was released through Melusine and Vinegar Syndrome of Jess Franco's 1976 film Doriana Gray. That is, I think, one of the most interesting films that I've seen in this bundle, because it marks itself as being inspired by Desaad, but it's just a theory.